and we're going to be talking about this incredible book that's coming out on December 12th. So I know, and we're broadcasting from my station, so a lot of these people know who I am. But if you want to share a little bit about yourself, please do so.
Thank you. So I'm Tamara Herskovic, and I am one of the many authors in our soon to be released book, All of the Mystical Mountain. And before this project, I didn't know who you were. And so it's beautiful the way the mountain is connecting so many of us as she does.
As she does.
Um, as she does. And so currently, I am in the process of moving to Mount Shasta from northern
Wow.
Wisconsin. Actually, I leave tomorrow, and I know you're in a similar process
I
yourself, so
am.
you know how big it is.
Yes. I just moved from Atlanta to Sacramento about 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago. So I drove a U-Haul all the way to California, and it was specifically to get close to Mount Shasta. I didn't find anywhere there specifically to live at the time, and I had a lot of codes to pick up here and activate and clear here in Sacramento that I didn't know about until I found a place to live, and now I'm living here. And we can talk about that, but I just thought Sacramento was close enough, and there was an airport in case because I travel a lot, and so I was like, okay, path of least resistance. But it was to get to Mount Shasta, and I'll be moving there in August.
And I cannot wait to have you there and to arrive together. And it's just such a beautiful place in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things about this whole project is I have not read your chapter and you don't know mine. And I'm
No.
just so excited for launch day next
Yeah.
week to receive all these beautiful stories. Truly, like to receive this community, like more and more layers. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's I'm excited to read everyone's story because I know that it's like all paths lead to Rome, all yellow brick roads lead to the Emerald City. So we all have this, probably every story will be completely different, from star seeds and people who dealt with severe trauma, and but we all ended up at the mountain and
Right.
in that frequency. And so it didn't really matter how we got there, but it's going to be awesome to see all the different ways in which the call is sent out from the mountain and all the different ways in which it's received and activated. It's going to be really cool.
And to hear and feel how other stories activate each of us. Because I
Hmm.
always think I've arrived and then there's more.
Yeah.
There's always
There will never
more.
not be more.
When there is no more, there will be no more.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not ready for that. I'm having too much fun. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
what?
oh, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, I'm curious to know what your theme around your chapter is without giving too much away. I would
Well,
love to
I
know.
already gave a piece of it away for
Mhm.
those who got my Yellow Brick Road um, uh, allusion. I guess that's how I would say that, an allusion. But it's called "There's No Place Like Home,"
Mm.
and so. I didn't
Mhm.
really even mean to do that, but there's a lot of Wizard of Oz and Wicked references in my chapter, and I didn't even think about the movie coming out
Look
like
at
at this
you.
exact same time. So
Yes.
for those who read the book, like, I'm going to talk about Wicked in my chapter, which is strange because now it's like this huge phenomenon, and it has been, but on a global level. And my chapter really centers around, star calls during our live.
They're trying to
Usually I'll
interrupt.
answer, I know, and I didn't answer that call, but I did answer the call of the mountain, and that's the most important.
That was not
Because
spam.
Mount Shasta is not spam likely, okay? It is spiritual awakening lightly, or
Very
likely.
likely.
Yes, heavy, I should say. And but my chapter really centers around the idea of home, and
Mm.
there's no place like home. And the idea of, how I got to the point on this planet. So, for my entire life, I have felt very different in many ways, as many
Mm.
people have. But there's also been this sort of existential, spiritual, psycho-spiritual level of loneliness or difference that feels
Yes.
like, because sometimes I walk in the grocery store, I'm living my life, and I see humans the way that most humans would see primates, or a flock of geese. It's kind of like I'm not one of them, but I
I'm not
coexist
one of
with them.
you.
And
And
not
you
that
have,
I'm above, because I see animals as equal,
mm,
100%. So I don't
mm.
mean to say that from a superiority perspective, but I just mean I don't feel like them.
You
Okay.
feel like an outsider.
Yes, and I've come, and I didn't think of it as a big soul mission in my lifetime, but it just felt like I wasn't like anyone. And so that's also come with this kind of like, when I was a little kid, I loved, loved, loved The Wizard of Oz. Okay. And half of it is those ruby slippers. I wanted them. Okay.
Yes.
But I was the Wicked Witch of the West for Halloween for 5 years in a row, from like 3 years old until I was 8. And so as I got older, and the Wicked Witch got her own book and her own musical and now her own movie, it sort of signaled to me this idea of, being the wicked one. That is the
Mm.
villain, the
The
persecuted one, the one who is
villain.
different.
Oh.
Yes, I have played the villain many times in my life,
Mhm.
and most of the time not purposefully. It just
Nope.
happened that way. I'm a manifester or initiator in human design, and we do tend to get villainized a lot, and
Because we
that's
trigger others.
absolutely, for
Mhm.
sure. And so I feel like the Wicked Witch theme definitely showed up, but it was all about this like
Mm.
feeling of wanting to go home or wanting to return somewhere where I belonged. And I felt that when I came to the mountain
Well,
in
I
a way
hear
that I
that.
never felt.
I receive that so deeply. So my chapter is very much about answering the call, and in the process of it, of resisting it, feeling like I was crazy because I didn't know anything about Mount Shasta.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah.
And I'm very logical, this Capricorn brain. If I'm going to invest time and money and energy into going somewhere, I like to do it right, and I like to know why. And so I thought, there's no retreat there. There's nothing there. It's just a mountain and so on. And the first time I went, I brought my son with me, who was 9 at the time, and he started to cry. He said, "This feels like
Oh,
home." And I
wow.
don't know why.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, and then I started to get emotional too because I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. It makes no sense. But it makes lots of sense in the heart center,
Mhm.
and it's that inner knowing and that comfort of being there. And home to me is that safe place where you could be yourself and you can grow. You can learn. To be human right now, you have to be so safe. You have to find that safety within yourself and outside of yourself wherever you can, so
Mhm.
that we can make that connection with source. And so the fact that we're going home is going to
Yeah.
be amazing. It's going to be amazing. And we need to keep that almost close to Seattle. It's closer
I
than
was going to say,
Wisconsin.
you can see the comments, right?
I
Okay,
can.
good. I just want to
Yes.
make sure. Becca,
Yes.
Mount Shasta is in Northern California, about an hour away from the Oregon border, in the center of the state. It is not in Washington or close to Seattle, but it is a Northern California landmark, and temple. That's what everyone needs to understand. That this mountain is less of a geographic anomaly, which it is.
It
Not
is.
every mountain just decides to grow somewhere by itself, singular, and then have a bunch of little friends around. It's like a little community there. Mount Eddie, and I can't remember the Bradley. I think Mount Bradley, the little
Mhm.
one. when you're driving to Mount Shasta and you see that almost prehistoric dinosaur looking mountain that looks like a cone almost. You've got all these different little characters there, but they're beings. The Native American tribes, they have tried to tell us for thousands of years that these huge structures are actually beings in and of themselves, and it almost feels like a grand temple, like a mega church, if you will, to come to for spiritual people who are ready to reconnect and remember and reclaim this planet as home. Because there, many people have come from other parts of the galaxy. For me, I have come from, I'm not really sure what to call it yet, but some violet blob of light. But I also have other lives that I've lived here. I also contain the energy of my great grandfather. So our soul and what lives in our body isn't always just one thing. Okay. So while I've come from other places, I also have had many lives here and have connections with this planet for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And this is supposed to be a home for all who come and hold Mama Gaia sacred, or Tara, as we would call it in 5D. But what's happened is this planet has been taken over by other forces. So Shasta almost acts as a safe place or a refuge for people to come and not only feel home in a galactic way, but to remember that this is supposed to be our home, because it can become anyone's home who comes into the environment, lives in harmony with the other beings that are here. Gaia is a huge terrarium of love and unity consciousness. And for the past 13,000 years, it has not been so because of the false matrix and the reality that we live in. And Shasta really helps, or it's almost an anchor point and how do I put this? A cosmic reminder pillar that when you step into that environment, it pulls you back into the frequency of the time of the Lemurians, of course, because anyone who goes to Mount Shasta, you're going to hear about the Lemurians. If you go to the coffee shop, there's a Lemurian brew that you can get, okay? So there's something really ancient, not just about the mountain, but about all mountains are ancient, but this specific one is there to, it's a record keeper so that we don't forget what was before the fallen consciousness and the 3D matrix was implemented, or the false matrix was implemented. So for me, it's a big reminder, and it really helped me to remember Mount Shasta is home. It felt like home to me, but what she really told me was, this is your home, this whole planet. And so whatever code you pick up here at the mountain, we want you to take that and sprinkle that fairy dust everywhere you go.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not about
yes.
all of us moving to Mount Shasta. You and I are moving there because we have work to do.
We do, and in service to love and to light. And the other piece is that when we think about Mount Shasta, she's the root chakra of the earth. And when we think about how we are developed as humans, we start at the root. And everything else can grow from there, because there's deep safety there. To be in a womb space, and to amplify that out and to embody that as, we move about either in Wisconsin or Sacramento or wherever else you are in the world, it is meant to be amplified out, and almost as being an ambassador of her out into the world.
Absolutely.
And it's just, anyone that can visit, I highly encourage it.
Yeah.
But also know that there's other ways to connect with her, and to connect first, doing this feminine
I'm so sorry to
embodiment.
interrupt you, but should we put the link for the wait list in the
Ooh,
comments?
that's a good idea.
I think
Do you
we
have
should.
it?
I'm like, do I have it?
So
I
let's
think
see if I can. The last thing I pasted in, let's see. Nope, that won't be it. So
paste. Okay. I put the can you?
yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
We messed with it a little bit too much. This 2024 technology just can't keep up with us.
I'm doing a retrograde at that. Little
Hopefully it
Mercury.
is retrograding. Yes, it
Oh
is.
my goodness. goodness. Yeah, so there's so much. There's so much there. And what I love about this book is the way we've said yes. And we say yes to the mountain. We say yes to the work. I said yes to you before, just that takes so much faith. I think our human minds, we need this exercise of saying yes to one another, of having faith in each other, knowing that your chapter somehow is going to have that perfect messaging that'll align with my chapter, which will align with the next person's, and to take that faith out again, out into the world, because we need the safety.
Mhm.
We need to feel safe.
Yeah.
And that's where love grows. That's the womb of Mount Shasta, is
Yeah.
this beautiful alchemy that's occurring from all these different universes and galaxies. And it's just, my human mind cannot conceive it.
Yeah, and that was something I was going to bring up to you earlier. So, and let me know what you think about this because I
Mhm.
just recently learned this in the past 6 months. But, I understand because I went through a Kundalini awakening. I did a lot of research on Kundalini and also
Mhm.
the Kundalini of the whole planet because she has her own Kundalini. And apparently, the Kundalini energy will move to different locations every 13,000 years. And so it has moved. In 2012, it moved. And that also rearranged the chakra points on the planet. And
Mm.
so this is something I want everyone to sit with, including yourself, and ask if it resonates with you. But it is said that the root chakra is no longer Mount Shasta, and that Mount
Ooh.
Shasta is an even more important chakra, and that it is the cosmic transducer chakra, the one that's right above the crown. It
Oh.
has now been reassigned for that. And I resonate with that so much because, of
Mm.
course, the root, it was the root for 13,000 years. So that energy is still there because it's imprinted, but you can feel the cosmic amplification that it has. When I was there, I remember telling people, I'm like, this is not as grounded as I thought it was going to be. It is. We're in nature, of course, but
Hmm.
this is so when you go to Mount Shasta now, you actually can commune with that. You have your soul star chakra, and then you have the one in between that, your crown and your soul star, which is the one that transduces the frequencies that come from up here so that your body doesn't
Can
explode. We got
handle it.
yeah. And
Yes.
so Shasta really holds that pillar. So when we go there and we do manifestation work, we're not
Mhm.
manifesting from the root there anymore. Is where I was bringing that in. Is that I think it also holds that cosmic amplification, and that you can go there to really help bring in these higher concepts like non-duality or um, multidimensionality, parallel universes, those things that we can't quite wrap our head around. You somehow understand it in your body when you leave Mount Shasta because it helps to bring those big soul uh,
Huge.
themes down into your system in some form of understanding. And I definitely felt that as well. So I was just
Yeah.
bringing that up because I just
Oh,
learned
I
that
love
recently.
that. And
Because
yeah, so
and sit with that, you
this is
all see if it
new.
resonates. Yeah.
And I also, so there's something that happens, that happens a lot in like spiritual communities where we have folks that are super, Nisa, who is the person that began this whole
Yes,
project. She and I were talking about it yesterday. There's people that are super, super grounded, but then they
that's
can't
right.
reach up into those higher realms. And then there's those of individuals are so ungrounded
Yes.
that they can reach beautiful places, but they're not embodied to
Totally.
take responsibility
And action. Yes.
and
Capricorn
action.
responsibility. Look at Capricorn. She's like
Like, come on, spiritual
responsibility.
bitches, right? Like, let's go. Like, we got work to do. And so when I think about, okay, so we're the root chakra and then we're also like above this crown chakra. Well, as above, so below.
Hmm.
To
Absolutely.
reach higher, we must ground deeper. So maybe all those centuries of grounding, holding the
Yes.
earth's
Yes.
groundedness was so then she could then hold both, because we're trying to find this that divine union within ourselves. that's a purpose, right? Where's the divine feminine and masculine and the duality within ourselves? And so I love the idea of Mount Shasta representing the that dual
Yeah,
energy of as
absolutely.
above, so below. That really resonates
And
with
that was very
me.
poetic the way you put that, because it is very it sounds pretty to say, but it's an energetic process you go through there.
It is hard work.
Yes. Yes.
It
Because
is
you're
such
you're
hard work.
pulling from down here, but also pulling from up here. And that's why when I go to Mount Shasta, I really feel activations in the heart. I get a lot of headaches when I'm in Mount Shasta, not just because of the elevation, but
Yes,
lots of heart activations as well, which can kind of be that lower and higher self, if you want to look at it that way.
absolutely. Does it
Merging.
feel like a Kundalini activation in the heart?
It feels like a heart opening, like when I
Okay.
work with Wachuma or cacao,
Okay.
or when I have sort of a forgiveness breakthrough in a healing session, that sort of opening. It'll feel like pressure, and then by the time I leave, it's this like fluttering openness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Medina Bloodline says, do you guys hold space at Mount Shasta for the native peoples to join your outings? And that is
Mm.
100% a yes. It hasn't been something specifically I have sought out there. I've worked with indigenous people, native peoples, if that's what she's referring to. If she just means people in the Mount Shasta area, native to Mount Shasta, of course. We hold space for anyone. These Mount Shasta is so cool, you all. There are portals, Star of David ceremony spaces. There are huge ceremony circles that are built into the woods, into these different hidden locations, or not hidden, but just off the beaten path. And that's really representative of Mount Shasta. Is you don't have to walk in anywhere, you don't have to pay a ticket, you don't have to, or buy a ticket, you don't have to pay anything. You just walk into the
You
woods, and
walk
there's a
in.
ceremony space ready for you at any time. It's really
One of,
incredible.
yeah, it is incredible. One of my favorite books that I did not know was connected to Mount Shasta was was it from the Trail of Tears to the Star People,
Mm.
and how they were offered as they were walking the Trail of Tears, like you can opt out and we'll pull some of you into Mount Shasta. We'll
Wow.
pull, oh, it is, I just, yeah. And
Wow,
then
that is
some
cool.
chose to go and to be within, that portal and are still there.
Yeah.
And others chose obviously to continue on so that someone could hold the story. And it's just it's very
Yeah.
profound. Yeah, so thanks for
Very
that
much so.
question.
Yeah. And I feel that many people, like Sonny says that he climbed to the top of Mount Shasta, and it's like, you're able to do that. Of course, it's
Yeah.
open to all. It is. Some people go because it's beautiful in the nature, and that is just as spiritual for going to
Yes.
channel the Arcturians and the Telosians and the Lemurians. Shasta is a place for anyone to come and have a spiritual experience, even if that means,
Mm,
wow, I feel really connected to this tree in this mountain. That is as spiritual as you can get for some people, and that is just as spiritual in the Mount Shasta area as all the Saint Germain and the Violet Flame and all the crystals and sage and all that kind of stuff. Those are just tools. It is a really grounding force for spiritual folk when we talk about that root and that cosmic transducer coming together. For those of us who are star seeds and who existed in other realities outside of time, we didn't have to eat, we didn't sleep, we didn't have a physical body exactly the same way as we do here. It helps to realign and almost help with the density, is what I'm hearing. Help
I
you when you
agree.
go to Mount Shasta, you get a little bit of a boost, kind of like when you're playing Mario Kart and there's those, or playing Mario and there's those coins that you can collect. Mount Shasta has all kinds of coins for us star seeds and light workers to help us handle the density that's here too.
Mhm.
What rocks and minerals are on the mountain? I could channel that. I don't know specifically what minerals. Um, there's thousands and thousands of different minerals. So if you have specific questions, we can channel that, I'm sure. Um, Gosh,
You
there's gold,
know,
a P word. I
yeah,
don't know what
there's
palladium
Mount
is.
Shasta opal as well, which is actually part oceanic.
Oh,
um,
very
in
cool.
its composition. I know that one for sure because I was guided to have, this staff made, and on the staff it has Mount Shasta opal that was mined from the area. And just another tidbit is, yes, is the headwaters of the mountain is the beginning of the Sacramento
Yes,
River.
which is why I'm here. And I won't go too deeply into that, no
Yeah,
pun intended, but that is why I landed here.
good. Good. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so life-giving, and it takes what 50 years for that water
Mm,
to travel out of her, as I like to refer to Mount Shasta as a her, and it's life-giving. And so there's this idea of not being alone in all the cosmos, but also being really, really grounded. It's I don't they say it's heaven on earth, and that's what resonates with me.
yeah.
Um,
Earth is
yeah.
supposed to be heaven. So that was originally, this is the Garden of Eden. The entire planet, not just some area in the Middle East. So this entire planet was a paradise and is a paradise. I mean, go to the middle of the jungle right now. It is a paradise outside of cities um, and false matrix constructs and conglomerations of people in cities. You're going to find the fifth dimension in the Garden of Eden all around out there, okay? Because
Right.
I mean, it has existed for billions of years before this whole dissension in consciousness, and it feels really incredible because one of the things that I've been brought here to do in Sacramento is heal the land and the energy and the grid for people who do grid work. That's what I'm talking about on the gold rush energy, because
Mm,
gold is very special to my energy. My first name and my middle name both mean gold or golden one.
mm,
And that gold frequency is precious. It's densified sunlight. And the first gold that was found in 1848 was in the Sacramento River, about 20 minutes from here. And after that, you had millions of people over those years flooding into California, which is why California holds a certain dense Hollywood elite energy to this day, because it actually brought in this frequency of greed,
mm,
which is
mm.
allowed to be there. It's totally allowed to be there in duality. And it also brought in this frequency of, because there were about 300,000 indigenous um, natives and tribes that were here that died of famine. They were slaughtered. It was really intense. So there's a lot of trauma in this area, but there's also what they did to the
Yeah.
land. I'm not going to use the R word, but they
Yeah. They
abused her.
took what was not theirs.
Absolutely.
And
And
I,
they took the gold, and the gold under there was
that
what was supplying so much of the frequency.
so when we think about abundance and, wealth and all of that, like I love reclaiming it in this very conscious, sacred way versus that gold rush opportunistic way of taking what you didn't ask for and just take out
Yes.
of fear, because that's what
Yes.
it is. It's out of fear, it's out of lack, it's out of misremembering who we are,
Hmm.
our purely abundant state of ourselves and our
Yeah.
connectedness. That is that is where we build our true wealth,
Hmm.
um, in all directions, abundance in all directions, including our bank accounts, including, if what we adorn ourselves with. Like there's just so much, for me, there's so much safety and in luxury, and when you step into that more and more and more, not from a place of fear or lack, but in place of oneness, that we're meant to experience this paradise together. Oh
Hmm.
my goodness. To me, I just think that is part of the work.
Yeah.
that we all are here for, to step out of that fear and lack. But we have to find the safety, and it's not going to be outside of us, it's going to be in here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited for this
Yeah.
book. So excited.
The book is going to activate people into there's going to be millions of people over the next many years who come in contact with this book, or who, millions of people will meet someone who has read this book because it contains codes. It is a
It is
crystal in and of
living.
itself. It's a living crystal and a living Akashic record of what happened to this group of people when it comes to this mountain and what brought them all together. And it's going to bring a lot of people to Mount Shasta, which because she's protected and she protects herself. If you've ever heard of what happened to the ski resort on Mount Shasta, she knows how to take care of herself. But there's going to be a lot of people flooding into the Mount Shasta area, moving there, coming there to visit, doing spiritual work. And what that means is that that pillar that's there is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And the stronger the pillars are on these different sacred locations, Stonehenge, Lake Titicaca, Giza, there's many of them. There's hundreds of them, not just the chakra points, Bali, Hawaii. When we go to these places and we do this work, we're strengthening these pillars that hold up the structure of the new earth. And
Correct.
Shasta is a huge part of that. And it's right here in our country. We don't have to go to Mount Fuji. We don't have to go to Stonehenge. You have the most incredible cosmic transducing root chakra temple right in Northern California for you to come visit anytime should you feel called. And this book also gives permission for others who have had this call and felt crazy like you
Yes.
to say, I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. Exactly. And or if it's not a geographical sacred place, maybe it's a calling into, leaving a job, or, changing a relationship. Like, these are all, like, there's sacred practices within day-to-day
Mm,
things. And the more we can honor that, then it just amplifies out. It amplifies out. And Mount Shasta is like, it is that pillar within the grid, right? And so, the more I see it, the more people that visit and then leave, they're fortifying that grid of
mhm.
love, of oneness,
Yes.
of moving out of this fear-based consciousness.
I'm going to bring up something that I'm feeling called to bring up, just
Mhm.
because someone will see this and understand. There's also a lot of mixed, or there's a diverse group of energies in the Mount Shasta area. There's also energies around Mount Shasta, or people or groups that have settled there or planted bases there that are not really in a they're not really in alignment with this whole 5D New Earth thing. Okay? And so if you really want to disrupt an ascension process, you would want to go fuck with Stonehenge. Okay? You'd want to go to the place where the pillar is and put some termites in there. Okay? So there are some termites, and I hate calling them that because they're allowed to be there and they're allowed to exist. However, many of you will be called to this, into Mount Shasta, to really fortify that pillar, because the elite, the forces that be, I'm, I'm not going to go into all the different beings, but different types of beings that may have come from other places that are here that have their own agenda. Let's just say that they would gather in some of these areas and try to screw with that. However, when we go to this area and we just go for a vacation, Spirit told me one time, we don't need you to put your hand on the ground and do light language. You just need to be here. You need to see it. You need to love on it. You don't have to do something special unless we call you to. You all are crystals. We're crystals. So we're actually going to put our body on there because we're going to pick up codes from Mount Shasta, of course, but she needs your all's code too. Your all's
Correct.
remembrance. When she told me that you're home and you belong here, you don't need to go back to that violet blob of light. Like this, you came here to make this your home, and so that future generations and the people around you feel like home here. so that all this darkness or this exaggerated darkness that we experience in the false matrix doesn't make all these people want to leave. Okay,
Yes,
which we are seeing a
exactly. Which
huge
we are
aspect of
seeing,
that.
especially in our men,
Yeah,
especially in our
of
men,
course. They're really
because
targeting them.
they are our protectors. They are, but and it's very it's very it's very painful to know, like, what are
Mhm.
you protecting? How do I win? How do I protect? It's just so dense and so heavy.
Isn't it interesting that they would turn the protector into the abuser? We call it the
By design,
patriarchy.
by
That the
design.
men are all, and it's by design. You
It's
got
by design. And so the more that we can keep that really strong spine, really strong core, the softer our hearts can be. And then we can be anywhere in the world and just feel that safety. And like I said, when I said yes to Mount Shasta, I said yes to you. I said yes to the book. I said yes to really amplifying these messages.
it.
And like, let's go. Let's do this.
You have a lot of angels around you. I don't know if you work with
Thank
angels,
you. I
but you have a
do.
lot of angels around you. And they don't always show up with wings, but these are showing up like
Mm.
the kinds you would see with wings.
When you think of,
Yes, when you
yeah,
think of an angel,
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, cool, look at that. Um, so there's also, hmm, yeah, we also, I need to say this because the angels, your angels, ours, let's just say our angels, are saying that this wasn't some random call. And so good job, Tamara, for answering the call. Good job, Christopher. We always were going, we were waiting on the call. Don't you feel like that? Like you were waiting for this?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Thumbs up. That's the angel's way of saying thumbs up. Yes. Um, but when I came to Shasta, it was like this total like this is what I'm supposed to do. I understand. Shasta helps me unlock codes. Like
Yes.
I've been to Sedona and Bali and Joshua Tree, especially these different places in the United States that have vortex points that are known for that. Shasta, there's nothing like it that I've
I agree.
experienced so far.
Same.
You're going to
Same.
hear that in this book. We're all going to say that in
We
some way.
in different ways, and that's why I love it. Like we're different cogs in the same, machine here, and we're working together so that all of these messages can, again, we just amplify each other,
Hmm.
which is we've all shown up in service to Mount Shasta. And so it's going to make its way into everyone that reads it, including the people that have written their own chapters.
Yeah.
And I'm just knowing that so deeply. And I want to celebrate you and the whole
Well, I'm celebrating you
project.
as well. Thank you for seeing me, and I see you as well.
Thank
There's a
you.
question here. Did you feel hesitant for a while, like not going back once you take this last step? Becca, can you rewrite that for me? Just can you clarify what you're trying to say? I
Yeah,
think I understand. Is the book available in the UK, Tamara?
I think it will be because it's going
I
to be
think
on
it's
Amazon.
on Amazon, so it'll be global.
Yes, and so if you wanted, in the comments, there is a link for the wait list, and the launch is on 12/12. So it'll be digital at first, and then it will be printed within like a month or so. So there's gonna be multiple like wait lists, but you can join it right away. Yes, to feel hesitant to step fully to your absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
my
So
God, honey. Yes.
because you kind of know that something big is about to be birthed through you, and you don't know. For myself, I didn't know if I could birth it properly,
Right.
birth it without pain. I had all these human um ideas, and I also equated it to like holding that arrow, and I was just shaking and
Yeah.
shaking and shaking because my brain wanted to have all the answers before I did anything,
Yeah.
right? But that's not faith. That is not how faith works. It's the opposite. It's
Yeah.
of having that conviction, having that inner guidance, that outer guidance, that connection to the spirit realm, and stepping forward and doing the
It
thing.
takes bravery.
Bravery.
And the universe rewards bravery every single time. Not the universe, your higher self. Your higher self is built on bravery because when you step out onto the lake, that's when the lily pad pops up. Not before. You have to take the step sometimes and, oh, somebody's got some Virgo in them. Okay, I understand. Yes, Virgo, miss, let me plan it all out. And Spirit's like, that is so matrixy. That is not how that works. So if you have Virgo sun, that means your Gaia sign is in Pisces. You do have it within you to be a mystic and to trust those downloads.
Swimming.
Should you choose that side and to trust what's coming into your body for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bravery piece. When you go to Shasta and you unlock your soul mission and you find out that it isn't to help people open their third eye and to sell crystals at a shop, because for some people that is their soul mission and that's incredible. Someone has
And
to do that. Her
and it's
Virgo rising.
divine for them.
Absolutely. Some of us, our soul mission is much more intense. Okay. All the things you all don't want to talk about, archons, reptilians, false matrix, all the things that cause anxiety, and some people are just love and light, and that is where they want to stay. Some people are love and light because that's the beginning before they understand that the darkness must come in and we're transmuting that. We're all on our path. But um, okay, her sun is in Pisces, so that means your Gaia is in Virgo. So you have Virgo rising and Virgo Gaia. So you've got quite a bit of that energy in you. And so Gemini moon, I get it. I'm Gemini sun and Mercury, and we can't decide on something to save our life because we see all sides to things, the darkness and the light. And so when I came to Shasta, there was this, you're home and it's beautiful and there's Lemurians, but also there's going to be some things we need you to see and unlock and say to people that they're not going to like. And we're going to need you to play the villain the way that the Wicked Witch plays the villain. That's what she decides in Wicked. She goes, you know what? I will play this role and let everyone think the wizard is the one who's going to save Oz, even though that's not true, because I have to focus on saving these animals and saving Oz. I can't go convincing all the munchkins and all these people that I'm not evil. I don't have time for that. So I'm going to let them have it because I know deep down in my heart what I'm doing. And she really helped me, the mountain, ground that frequency in. And once I did, I just felt home.
Right.
And there's no
And
place like
when
home.
you're and there's no place like home. And when you're home, you can feel braver to keep showing up, to keep
Mm-hmm.
doing the work because, as beautiful as Mount Shasta is, it's a lot of work. And as beautiful as being a human is, there's lots of pleasure, right? But it's a lot
Totally.
of work. And so it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
It's just so
Well,
exciting.
we're excited for you all to read it. I'm going to put the comment or the wait list link in the comments one more time.
Yeah, yeah, please join the wait list. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, it was
Mhm.
so good to connect with you, and I'm so proud of you for following your soul mission and being brave and traveling across the country to go live at Mount Shasta and do the work that you're doing and devoting your life to this because we need people who are devoting their whole life to this. Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, it's beautiful to watch, even if it wasn't this dire soul mission that we had to do to save the planet. Just watching people follow their heart is really beautiful and inspirational. So
It's
thank you.
yeah, and it's important to witness. It's magic. So
Yeah,
I look forward to more.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
to seeing you next week during all the different celebrations.
Yes.
And there will be a launch party that we're doing by Zoom Uh, that'll be actually it's announced, and so that's on that's for the public. And we're also going to be in ceremony, which is a private function between the authors, so we could just be in ceremony with the energy. And I hear my children hollering; they're about to enter. So,
Well, you go take care of that. I will close this out for everyone,
Mhm.
and I'll put a link to the launch party on Facebook in the comments. Um,
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. It was good getting to know each of you and to be here.
the link.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't have the link right now, but I'll post it
Okay.
later. But thank you for being here. You have a great rest of your day, and I'll
Thank
see
you,
you
you
next
too.
week.
I'll see you soon.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.